Mahesh Jethmalani says there is a pattern to BBC's anti-India propaganda, from showing a wrong map of India to the wrong representation of Jammu and Kashmir to what the government now says is a biased documentary. Is there merit that the opposition is actually falling prey to foreign agenda?
Good evening, Gaurav. Thank you so much for having me on your show, and good evening to all your viewers. There are two aspects to this debate that I want to bring in. Aspect number one. Before the government of India actually came down with a heavy hand and banned this BBC documentary, this documentary was already 6 days prior to that in public domain. And I, for one, when I got it on WhatsApp, I thought, what is new in this documentary that hasn't already been discussed? And the most honorable Supreme Court has given the most honorable Prime Minister clean chit. So there is nothing more to it. But somebody obviously in the Prime Minister's office decided to be more loyal than the king and decided to come with a heavy hand and ban something. And you know, Gaurav, more than anybody, in this internet age, nothing ever can be banned. And that's obviously sparked of a reaction that, gave the documentary traction that the government hoped it wouldn't have got. So point number one, nothing can be banned, and you should not ban anything for the sake of whatever has happened in the past. You cannot ban things. Two, the government and the law minister in particular claims the clean chit from the Supreme Court, which they've got. The same Supreme Court that they're fighting against today, and they want to change the system, and the Supreme Court has given the government a clean chit. Now, to the most important point with regards to this documentary and this whole Chinese conspiracy and Congress conspiracy, as Mr. Jethmalani puts it. Do you know, Gaurav, when the UPA demitted office, the fiscal deficit with China was $36 billion. Today, it stands at $101 billion. The telecom company that you're talking about, rightly so, that is banned in 5G trials, is actually operational in 4G, 3G, and 2G, even today in India. And what can happen in 5G that cannot happen in 4G? You know, Gaurav, when you cover national security, and you know, I have a lot of respect for you. China attacked AIMS. You know how they attacked our servers. They're waging war against us. It is this government that is not tough against China. We are with the government. I am saying the government's given...
My question is, why is our opposition falling prey to China? Fair enough, I take your point, but let me bring in Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, because Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, your assessment of the BBC when you were in government and you've been our ambassador in different countries, does the BBC, as Mahesh Jethmalani alleges, peddle an anti-India agenda, and your take on the Huawei funding of BBC?
Good evening, Gaurav. I have no means to confirm or contradict what Mr. Jethmalani has said. But, well, is it possible? Yes, it is very much possible. China has a motive to undermine India, which we all know. Huawei doubly so. And Huawei's links with the Chinese establishment are very well known. So everything is within the realm of possibility, but there is no direct evidence, at the moment at least, in the public domain, pointing to the culpability of China in this documentary. But why are we surprised about BBC? I've had enough occasions of dealing with BBC when I was a spokesperson, and I very clearly remember that they were on their website trying to project Kashmir as a separate entity. For them, I must compliment them, they have an impeccable track record of maligning India. And nothing about India is good as far as BBC is concerned. Our legal system is bad, our democracy is faulty, our human rights record is bad. When the Islamic jihadists target India, they are militants, they are not terrorists. When Hindus get killed in Kashmir, there is deafening silence. When a terrorist gets eliminated, is brutality by Indian security forces. I mean, that is BBC for you.
So BBC does peddle an agenda, and you're very clear about that.
They have a very jaundiced view of India, and which is getting more pronounced by the day.
It's a jaundiced view of India, getting pronounced by the day, and Tehseen Poonawalla, yet a section of our opposition, quotes the BBC, wants to peddle the BBC agenda against India. I mean, it's the BBC, it's not the Bible.
I agree with you, Gaurav. And the Supreme Court gave this Prime Minister clean chit, and the law ministers fighting with the Supreme Court. But, you know, I have a lot of respect for Vishnu Prakash ji. And when Vishnu Prakash ji says that the BBC has an agenda against India, and I have no reason to argue with somebody I've seen here, it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, 2013, who's saying you cannot trust Akashvani and Doordarshan, but you can only trust BBC.
Sir, again, Prime Minister. My question to you is about the opposition. Very specific questions about the opposition peddling foreign agenda against India, sir. You know, my question to you is very specific, Time is at a premium today. My only question to you would be, you know, it's like Amitabh Bachchan in Diwar saying, "Jao jaake uska sign kara ke lao." Sir, that doesn't solve my problem as an Indian.
Of course it doesn't. And therefore the question should be asked to the present government. Why in 2013 the Chief Minister of Gujarat was proposing and fighting for BBC? Why today the trade
So
deficit with
because he
China
did
is
that in
$101
2013,
billion?
the opposition is within its rights to peddle BBC's agenda in 2022 is your answer. Fair enough.
No, it's
Ambassador
not. May I
Vishnu
just make
Prakash,
one point?
permit me a political question. You
Sir.
give me a diplomatic perspective on it. The BJP says from Doklam to Galwan to Yangtze, the opposition either speaks to the Chinese ambassador or uses words like "Hamare jawano ki pitai kar di." Does that weaken India's stance?
Is that the question to me?
Yes, yes, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash.
Yeah. You know, all I know is that when there is external aggression or there's an external threat or there is a situation which is a national challenge, everybody rallies around the flag. And it is a pity that democratic India, we look like a house divided, and we say things which should not be said. It is unfortunate, and I really wish that despite the differences which are bound to happen in a democracy, those differences are set aside while there is an external threat, and after that we can go at each other. But why should we be seen as a divided house when there is external threat and China is breathing down our neck? It's beyond me. It's sad. It's unfortunate.
Okay.
May I just make one line? Just one line?
Yeah, one line, please, because I have another
Just one line.
story that's coming from across the border, but go on, sir.
I agree with the ambassador completely, except what the ambassador or Gaurav, you are not answering is, why is this government allowing trade with China to balloon to $101 billion when there's a government report that says the items we import from China can get from 3 other countries at much lesser price? Why is it being allowed to
Ambassador
balloon?
Vishnu Prakash has his hand up. You know, I put that question to the government as often as possible. You're absolutely right. Non-essentials from China must be banned. But Ambassador, go on, sir. Last word to you.
Well, you know, if you look at the trajectory of the trade with China since the year 2000, it has been increasing. Yes, the government wants to ban it, but overnight it cannot be done. The processes have started. We have to find alternative sources. We cannot traumatize the economy by abruptly cutting down imports from China, but that efforts are ongoing, and it's only a matter of time before things will change.